Hi Year 4 parents and carers, it's Miss Bullock here to talk to you about the Year 4 RSE curriculum at Ash Green. So this is just our PowerPoint on engaging parents and carers in how we effectively teach it. So this presentation is based on the Department for Education statutory guidance, relationship education, relationships and sex education, which we call RSE in school, and health education. And there is a link there where you can have a look. It's a gov.uk website. If you just type it into Google, that would come up and give you lots of information on the statutory guidance. So the purpose of the presentation is to engage parents with the teaching and delivery of the RSE curriculum at Ash Green. We want to provide you with a bit of a context of the importance of RSE, why it's so important, to inform and update you guys with the scheme that we currently use to deliver effective teaching of RSE in classrooms, and to share some of the resources and content that your child may be exposed to during these sessions. And hopefully that will better aid on your understanding of what we do here at Ash Green. So why involve parents in the teaching of relationships and sex education? So a bit of some facts and data here. So parents and carers are an important source of learning about relationships and sex. Research demonstrates that most parents feel they should have a role as relationships and sex educators. Research suggests that approximately 50% of parents feel confident to do so. Many parents report that they would like to be able to discuss it, so maybe they don't feel secure enough already and they'd like a little bit of extra information so that they can discuss RSE with their child. The majority, so over 85% of parents, support the teaching of relationships and sex education at home. Approximately 6% of parents feel that relationships and sex education should only be taught at school, and the same amount, 6% of parents, feel that it should be only addressed in the home. So there obviously is a parental right to withdraw. So at primary school, parents have got the right to request that their child is withdrawn from any sex education that is not included in the national curriculum for science. So anything that goes above and beyond what they need to learn for science, which is statutory, you are allowed to withdraw them from that. However, parents cannot withdraw their child from learning contained within the statutory health education or relationship education. So it's just those certain things that you can potentially withdraw them from. So our curriculum, schools have got freedom. So the Department of Education, their guidance states that schools have freedom to determine an age-appropriate developmental curriculum which meets the needs of their young people and is developed in consultation with staff, pupils and parents. PSH is a subject which must develop to meet the needs of the community, and the community needs vary from school to school. So for example, we might teach it slightly different than another school. Each school's got individual needs and they cater and change their PSHE curriculum to deliver that. So our chosen scheme at the bottom is Yasmin and Tom. So that's what, as a school, we've chosen to do our RSE curriculum. So a little bit about Yasmin and Tom then. So it's a PSHE accredited bought-in scheme. So it's something that we've decided to use as a school. We purchased it back in September 2020 when RSE became statutory. It's a cartoon child-friendly learning tool, and it follows the lives of two young children called Yasmin and Tom. So Yasmin and Tom start from the very beginning in year 1, and it follows them right on their journey up to year 6. And what's really nice about them is that they're always the same age as the children. So in year 1, Yasmin and Tom will be 5 and 6. In year 4 with us, Yasmin and Tom will be 8 and 9, and it follows them through right up to year 6. So it's really good for the children to kind of feel like it's really age appropriate for them. It's a live interactive platform. So a lot of the resources, which I'll show you in a second, are actually on the website that we launch, and it's all interactive, which is really nice. And all the delivery of it meets those core curriculum objectives. So the scheme is fully mapped out. And like I said, the lessons are age appropriate, differentiated and match the different abilities. It says more information about the scheme can be found here, but if you go into Google and type in Yasmin and Tom, it'll be the first link at the top, and you can go on that and you can have a little look and it'll show you some examples, but I will show you some year 4 examples now. So there's a little bit of a snapshot of the scheme. That's Yasmin and Tom. And obviously it's got the PSHE quality assured resource. And so this is kind of what the website looks like. Growing up with Yasmin and Tom down the side, it's got some frequently asked questions. There's probably a frequently asked questions part for parents as well, if you want to have a little look at that. But yeah, it's divided into 3 modules. It's part of the PSHE programme. So it starts in year 1 and follows them all the way through to year 6. There's a breakdown here of the 3-part scheme. So there's 3 modules. Module 1 is purely for Key Stage 1, that's for years 1 and 2. Module 2 is for years 3 and 4, and module 3 is for years 5 and 6. There isn't only 6 and 7 lessons for each module, there is more, and obviously it's split up. It's kind of halved, so half of module 2 for year 3 and the end half of the module for year 4. So it's really flows on from each other and what they've learned the year group before. It says at the bottom, it ensures that each lesson is age appropriate. Obviously, we have a progression document, progression of lessons across each year group then, so that it just makes sure that no lessons are repeated. And this has all been mapped out carefully by Miss Moss, who's our PSHE leader. So this is a bit of an example. This is an example of a lesson plan. So the aim of this lesson was to reinforce the language for personal and private parts of the body and to explore the ideas of safe touch, personal space and consent. So a really important one for year 4. I think this is our 2nd lesson for RSE. The first one we talk about families. So the plan's really detailed. It's got ideas about how to create a safe learning environment so that children feel safe and they know that they can talk without judgment or fear of anybody laughing or things like that. It gives a bit of a breakdown of the resources that are required. So normally this is interactive whiteboard resources, which is all on the website, and worksheets, which I'll show you some examples of in a second. And this specific lesson needed us to go onto the NSPCC website. So it's all the links there are provided in the plans for teachers, so we know exactly what we're using, making sure that everything that we're using is really good quality stuff. It's got key questions to ask the children, learning outcomes, so what will the children be able to do by the end of the lesson? Well, they can label the personal and private parts of the body, they can describe differences between safe and unsafe touches, they know that no one has the right to touch us in an unsafe way, even someone in our family. So it does talk about quite deep, serious issues, but in a nice sort of child-friendly way. And obviously at the bottom there is a bit of differentiation. So for each lesson, it'll be slightly differentiated for different abilities. This is our year 4 objectives. I won't read through them all, but if you'd like to pause here and have a little read. There looks a lot on there, but some lessons we kind of cover 2, some lessons we might cover 3. So yeah, we don't just concentrate on each objective specifically in a lesson, we kind of merge them in because some of them work really well together. So yeah, have a little read through those. Okay, so this is an example of a lesson and resources. So this was an example of a year 4 interactive whiteboard activity, and the lesson focus was people who can help us on and offline. And by the end of the lesson, the aim is to ensure that all pupils know who they can ask for help both offline and online. So this was a really nice lesson when we thought about, there was different scenarios, so children were given a scenario in school, what would they do, who could they go to help them, different scenarios at home, who might they ask for help there, and then obviously online as well, which this is the interactive bit at the bottom. So it kind of gives us a bit of a social story. So there's some boys that want to meet up in a park. This little boy feels really worried, Mark feels really worried and wonders who he can go to for help, and then that's when children start giving him ideas. We had to kind of type in lots of ideas that they were giving. So a lot of it when we're doing these lessons is quite discussion based. So we'll talk about it on the carpet. The interactive activity is completed as a whole class, and then the children can choose how to react in different scenarios, and they can kind of have that really high quality conversation of if people have different opinions and things, why would you go to that person for help? So it gets some really good conversations going in the classroom. This is an example of a Year 4 worksheet then, and this was a group activity that we did. The focus for this lesson was, is it risky? So the aim was for children to begin to develop skills in assessing and managing different risks. During the main task, children were asked to read each statement, then order the situations from least risky to most risky. And this is something that we did beforehand, and then the children had to go. And there was lots and lots of fab ideas, lots of ideas of people thinking different things. So it's really nice to have that dialogue going. All the resources on Yasmin and Tom are really vibrant, inviting, really child friendly. Children can access them with ease. Often we'll read through them together anyway before going off and doing them as a group. But yeah, it's a great opportunity for collaboration for children to work together, to think together, link it to their own real life experiences. So thank you. We hope that this PowerPoint has given you a bit of an insight into Yasmin and Tom, and kind of summed up what RSE is and what it looks like in the children's classrooms. If you've got any questions, information can be found on the school website, or you can speak to any of your child's class teachers directly. Thank you.